God's intense love for one another. That's huge. That is the foundation of RO116 right there. In Hebrews 10:24, discover creative ways to encourage others and to motivate them towards acts of compassion, doing beautiful works as expressions of love. So again, we are all here tonight. We're being creative. We're connecting. We're getting people together for the right purpose to spread the faith. And that's what we are about. So now we're going to get started here pretty soon. We're going to give it a few more times, and we are so lucky. Dee Sarton, she's joined us. She's the most busy woman I've ever met in my life, and a lot of people know her from KTVB, news personality, which is amazing. But I would say your biggest impact is what you're doing right now. So if you have not listened to At Home That Heals, that is just a home that heals is incredible. So Dee with her daughter Brianne is just an amazing message, extremely helpful, again, in this uncertain world. But we are so lucky to have her tonight. So she will be coming up, and she will be interviewing our fast pitchers. And so the first fast pitcher that we will have tonight is Jordan Mayer. And Jordan is with I'm Next Gen. And so I'm really excited to hear you tonight. And then we're going to have Angie Jameson, and she's with Child Evangelism Fellowship that sponsors the Good News Club. And so we have two heavy hitters tonight, two great people that are impacting this community. So I am really excited for that. Blossom, are we ready to start this? Perfect. So Dee and Jordan, can I welcome you up? So this is Catalyzing the Kingdom.
Let's do it, Jordan, shall we? What's your best side?
This one's higher,
So I maybe should go there. Okay, there you go.
maybe the level is out.
Yeah, okay. Oh, I love this. I'm such a, I sort of have, withdrawal from news. So it's really awesome to be able to interview somebody and be nosy, because I had a license to be nosy all those years. And so here it comes. You ready, Jordan?
I'm ready.
Okay. So first of all, I told you when we chatted on the phone, and I got to kind of get a little sneak peek of what Jordan was going to talk about. But Jordan, tell us about the name. I want to understand the name, and I think everybody else would too.
I Am Next Gen, that name.
Excuse me?
I Am Next Gen?
Yes.
I Am Next Gen is, the name is just something kind of tongue-in-cheek a little bit. It's just supposed to mean something that if somebody who's in high school can say, that's me. And so it's just an easy way to say I Am Next Gen for them, because it's a youth leadership organization. So that's kind of where this program is, and yeah.
And it's unique. It's so unique what they're doing. I can't wait for you to hear, because it's a way that I think a lot of people can reach teens, really have an impact on their lives, and isn't something that I've heard promoted a whole lot. And in my part-time post-broadcasting life, I'm a high school teacher, and I help students with their internships. And so when I saw internships on your flyer and the information on your website, it just jumped out at me, because I've always thought that would be a great way for people to connect with teenagers and help them and influence them. So how do you incorporate that and all the other things that you do to reach teens?
Yeah, so I'm Next Gen is a youth leadership organization. It's new in the Valley. We've been going for about a year, and one of the programs that we do is called My 13. My 13 is a faith-based vocational internship program. And the 13 stands for the My 13, is that we spend about 13 years worth of our life working, more than any other waking activity, and most other waking activities combined. And so what does it look like for us to connect our faith to something we do every day and spend most of our time in our life doing? How can we use work to honor God, glorify Him, and impact the kingdom? And so most students struggle with that. They struggle with understanding where they're going to fit, where they're going to use their gifts and abilities, and so they're not quite sure what this whole purpose and calling, where that fits for them. And so My 13 is about helping students get into that type of experience so they can get the exposure, partner with somebody in the marketplace that can bring them alongside and show them a little bit of what they do and how that work can serve God and serve other people. And that's kind of the big idea.
And I think that's being pushed a lot. I know in our schools it sure is, and that idea is being pushed so students are receptive. Some of them, like in our school, they have to do 120 hours of internships before they can graduate. So it's somewhat of a captive audience in some cases, but a wonderful way. So tell us more about the leadership aspect of what you do.
Yeah, so with those internships in that program, alongside that experience, we mentor them through the experience as well, so they go through a curriculum that we created that helps them understand that they take the experience. So let's say last summer we had some internships, like one of them was with physical therapy. So they spent about 30 to 40 hours during the summertime with somebody who runs a physical therapy business. And with that, they were able to see kind of a different perspective behind physical therapy. They didn't really know that before. He was able to share his faith, and they were required to ask him questions, and those questions help them kind of talk about, hey, this is how my work connects with my faith. This is how I see it serves God and serves other people. And this student in particular, she was 16 years old. She never quite realized, which was kind of the hope of what she would want, she never quite realized physical therapy to her was just something that sounded cool. So it was pretty neat for her to tell me that she never realized how physical therapy can be used by God to serve other people. Wow. So that was exactly what I was hoping for. And so we go through a curriculum to kind of talk through all those different things, talk about, will my work matter? How does this work serve other people? Where do I fit?
And it's such a natural way to share the gospel. I think that was one of the things that hit me as well in looking at your website. I know a lot of times I had a lot of interns over the course of my broadcasting career, and they would ask me questions that would just so naturally lead to sharing, like you did, sharing about why you do what you do and some of the challenges and some of the reasons why it sort of serves your life plan, your life purpose, I guess. So it's a very natural way to share the gospel, and that is one of the things that we're so focused on in this program, in this fundraising effort. So do you have any advice? I thought I'd just try to tap into you a little bit so that people could know, how do you share the gospel in those situations?
Well, I mean, I firmly believe that one of the most overlooked opportunities to fulfill the Great Commission and share the gospel is through the world of work. Mm-hmm. Many times we forget about that, and this is the My 13. This is where we spend our best waking years of our lives, and it's a great opportunity when we have the motivation to serve God in what we do, and through what we do is a natural outlet for us to spread the word and make an impact for the gospel. And that speaks for itself. And so as faith leaders, we've always talked about, hey, how do we get out in the community? How do we reach other people and do things outside church walls, outside of buildings like this? And we tend to forget that everybody's already there. Everybody's out there in the community. And I want the next generation, I want the next, these students to understand that. I want them, when they decide, hey, I'm interested in this career, this field, I want them to say, I want to be able to use that for God. I want to be able to redeem this industry in this way. I want to be used by Him in this way. Instead of saying, hey, what can this job do for me? What are the hours? What are the benefits? What are the things that I get out of it? I want them to look outside of themselves and say, how can God use me in this? And to me, that's one of the most overlooked areas of ministry that I feel like needs to be addressed because it's ripe. The ground is fertile for that.
Yeah, so. It's right in front of you, you know. What, we're here to raise money. We love giving some money away. Every ministry needs that. But what else do you need?
I need people who are willing to offer these types of internships that I'm talking about. Last summer was the first time we ran the My 13 internships, and I'm hoping to get quite a few more for this summer. So any connections that you guys that work in the marketplace, as somebody who doesn't mind having a 15, 16, 17-year-old come alongside them for about 30 to 40 hours over, I say, 4 or 5 weeks during the summer. You know, from a schedule standpoint, it could be whatever fits within that workplace environment. Everything's different. But, you know, think 2 times a week at 5 hours apiece, where they can come alongside you. You can talk about what you love to do, why it matters to you, how God fits in that picture, and then we meet alongside with them at the same time, at different times, to also go through that with them. So the exposure and the experience and the teaching is a double-sided mentorship that I want students to be able to get. And so the more opportunities I can present, or contingent upon how many different industries and people who are willing to offer that. So yeah.
So what would you do with the money that you would get here tonight?
One of the first things that would go towards is kind of investing back into the student. I'm hoping that we can get a little compensation for these students that do these internships, and then maybe also provide some resources that are specific to maybe that specific job. For instance, if they're in like a trade type of job, maybe we can invest in tools for them, that kind of a thing, just as a gesture that we believe in them. A lot of students and a lot of parents are very turned off if it's a free internship. It's kind of the world we live in today, but it also kind of makes sense if we could give them just a little bit of compensation, and then it helps them make sure they complete the full experience, and that would be all directed towards that.
How did you come up with this idea?
Well, I spent time in education. I worked in private schools. I have a teaching degree. That's kind of where I felt like that was the best way to reach students. Kind of started to realize that the classroom was not the best arena for students to build a lasting faith that they would take with them into the future. Education matters, it's needed, but I kind of started asking myself, what type of experience do students need in order to build a faith that they keep? And we need leaders. We need kingdom leaders everywhere. And if we don't start giving them experiences that build that, they're not going to be around tomorrow.
Yeah, good point. All right, questions for Jordan. You guys have some questions? Anybody? Yes, thank you. Yes. Good question.
Anyone is welcome to apply for any type of internships. Most of my work so far has been done in the Meridian area and through the churches and through trying to get through homeschool networks and that kind of a thing.
I saw another hand go up. Oh, good. Yeah, well, that was a good question. Yes.
Jordan, do you ever have any opportunities, kids that are like right out of high school looking for something in the short term?
No. I've tried to focus with students that are still in high school because it's not a paid internship. A lot of students, when they get to that point, are a little further down the road. These are kind of a starting point. These are just more about saying, hey, I find that interesting. Most students don't have access to these type of things, especially for ones who are just interested in something specific. The school is usually, you have a program, you're developing a certain area, and it's very different goals. It's not the same for a student to go, you know what? Physical therapy just interests me. I just always thought that was cool. What would it be like to go get that exposure?
And it's really hard for high school kids to get internships because the college, most places want students that are in college or even close to graduating, and especially if they're paid internships. But just even regardless, I know I have about 200 students that I try to get into internships every year, and it keeps me up at night because it can be really hard to find. So there's a need, and I think that you're really onto something.
Well, we also do something else.
Okay, let's hear it.
That is the Movers Challenge.
Oh yeah, tell them about that.
So the My 13 is just one of the programs that we have. The other program that we started this last fall was called the Movers Challenge. The Movers Challenge is a student service challenge that was created this last fall, when it's basically student ministries around the valley from churches they are led to, youth pastors lead their students through campaigns and projects that creatively love and serve other people in their community. And so each ministry did their own thing over about a 10-week period, and then they came together in the end to celebrate all the things that they had done. And we kind of had a night or event where we did all that. And the whole purpose of the Movers Challenge is I wanted students to have these types of experiences. I wanted them to be creating student-led initiatives that add value to their community. And so each of these 3 ministries, we only had 3 ministries this last fall get involved. I'm hoping to double-digit ministries next fall. Each one did something different that the students created. They came up with, they led, they implemented, they did themselves. And so those are the type of experiences to me that really build kingdom leaders. And so we kind of helped facilitate that whole Movers Challenge, made the event happen, and next year we're trying to make it bigger and better. And so it's kind of a natural outgrowth that kind of tie into My 13 for those opportunities, but it's just the fact that these experiences are taking places for students.
Tell them what some of those experiences were.
Yeah, one ministry was able to, the students decided that they wanted to do a bake sale. They raised money for suicide awareness, I think about $750. Another ministry went downtown, handed out jackets, made chicken noodle soup, prayed over with homeless people in the park. And another ministry created a bunch of gift baskets full of beef jerky, muffins, just a big care package that delivered to 7 different first responder stations in Meridian.
And the fact that the students came up with those ideas and then executed that is another opportunity along the way then for someone to really mentor and guide and show how, I would guess, how all kinds of principles fit into that, prayer and thinking about, what's your main purpose and how does that connect to your motivation, which could be connected to your spiritual life. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there's some things students can't learn with their heads. They have to learn with their hands. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And when it comes to the Movers Challenges, these are the type of things I want students to be doing because we're called by God to love Him and love our neighbors, and love is an action. And so this helps them understand that, hey, I need to practice this. This is something that needs to be flexed and done. If you don't do these type of things, they're not going to learn how to do them as they get older. And so there's no better way to let them come up with it on their own and do these things. Their ideas, students will always help support things that they create. And so these are the type of experiences that build kingdom leaders, in my opinion. And so I'm hoping to get a lot more doing this next time.
I think that'd be great. Real quick, we might have time for one question. Yes, Blossom.
All right, Jordan, what's the story of I'm Next Gen in 10 years?
10 years? Great question. Mm-hmm. The My 13 internships, I would, kind of right here is, a few dozen internships would be really, really awesome. But that's not the end goal. The end goal is that this program is uniquely, would fit within the church really, really well. The church is uniquely structured to offer these type of programs within itself, and I'd like to be able to package this for churches to do on their own so that they could offer internships, and they would have the students, they would have the mentorship, they'd have all the components that they need to do this. They just need to be told how. And then it can be expanded outside the valley. And my goal is that hopefully 10 years from now, we have thousands of internships happening all over the Western United States.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome. All right, Jordan, thank you. Now you have this, and we're a little limited because so many of you showed up, which is awesome. But I'm going to keep one of these so you can come and take a picture of it if you want to, and that will help. But there are some of these available. And of course, Jordan is here to ask questions and talk to him about how maybe you can get connected and get your church involved, which would be huge too.
Great.
Yeah. All right. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate you coming and appreciate you pitching. Let's give him a hand.
All right. Thank you so much, Jordan. And really quick, big thank you to David. David provided the music tonight, so live playing that. David, thank you so much. That's amazing. So next we have Angie with Child Evangelism Fellowship that sponsors the Good News Club.
Welcome, Angie.
Thank you.
Oh, so fun to learn about these things. I'm just amazed at at what all is going on that I don't know about. And I didn't know about Jordan. I didn't know about you until we visited last week. And I'm anxious for people to get to hear a little bit more about. This is her brochure, by the way, and we'll have these available too. CEF, as you call it, and the Good News Club. So tell us, give us kind of the pitch. What is it?
All right, I'm on, right?
Yep,
Okay.
you go.
Well, Good News Club is my heart, so to stop me at 15 minutes is going to be hard.
Oh,
but-
yeah, you've got the timer going. There we go.
So, Child Evangelism Fellowship, for those of you that don't know, is a worldwide ministry that reaches children in every country of the world but one. And we've been doing that since 1937. But here at home, I am the local director for the Treasure Valley chapter of Child Evangelism Fellowship. And so my job in particular is to reach the children in Treasure Valley. So that includes 5 counties right now. So we've got Gem and Ada and Canyon and Payette and now Malheur County in Oregon. So I came just a year ago. Actually, a year ago yesterday, we moved into our house. And we had 4 Good News Clubs going on. So what a Good News Club is an amazing thing, because this is a Bible club that actually has permission from the Supreme Court that we can go into the public schools and teach the gospel to children for
I think
free.
that deserves a hand
Yes.
right there.
Yeah. So when I came here a year ago, there were 4 Good News Clubs going on, and I found out there were over 120 elementary schools, public elementary schools in Treasure Valley. So my work is cut out for me. So to my surprise, when I came, people really didn't know anything much about Child Evangelism Fellowship. Even though we are worldwide, it really wasn't known here. And so I have been trying to get the word out, who we are, what we do, and trying to get into the schools, and that's been really hard.
I want to hear more about that, but before I let you go there, just paint the picture for us. What happens in the Good News Club?
Okay, well, it is after school, so it's typically a 90-minute club, and it's once a week, and we go by 6-week programs. So you go into a school, I have a team trained, screened, and ready to go with a passion to reach kids. And then the kids register with their parents' permission, come in, and they hear the Bible, and they have fun, and they play games, and they have snacks, and kids are getting saved every week.
You know, I was with somebody today. Yeah, that's good. I was with somebody today, and I was thinking about this. This person I was sharing Jesus with, no background as a child, zip, nothing, no, even Noah and the ark meant nothing,
Post-Christian.
Yeah. So this is more needed than ever for
Yes.
these little ones who are not getting that foundation when they're young. But you alluded to it, that it is not easy. The schools aren't quite up to speed on the Supreme Court decision
Right.
that allows you there. Maybe get us up to speed so we'll know about it. And then tell us a little bit about the challenge that you're facing, or maybe the battle that you're
Sure.
facing.
So, yeah, like you said, 80% of Americans' children are not in the church. So if the church isn't reaching them and the parents aren't going to reach them, where's that fall? So they're in the schools. But to get into the schools, like you said, we do have, in 2001, the Supreme Court ruled in a case specifically about Good News Club that we had the right to go in as any other after-school program, same as Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, all of that. So we have the same right and access to go into public schools. So typically we'll go in and the first answer you'll get was, oh, you can't do that, separation church and state, which is not true. So I kind of have to fight through that and nicely and lovingly let them know
Have
that
a great
this-
smile. That's an asset.
I keep smiling. But to let them know that this is a benefit. And we have had so many principals that have testified that it makes a difference. And I have stories I could tell you. So it's just a hard thing to get the school to recognize that it's needed. And I don't know what they're afraid of, but they are.
What's the resistance been like here? Since you've just been here for a year, would you, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being easy peasy, come on in, 10 being no way at all?
10.
10?
Yeah.
Really?
So I came from Washington State and doing the same thing, and I thought that was hard, but I didn't get any no's from any of the schools I went to. I came here, and I did not get any initial yeses.
Oh, do you guys find that shocking? I mean, Washington and Idaho?
Yeah.
Wow, what is the thing that seems to get people to open their hearts to this idea when you're trying to work through all that?
Well, I think it's the heart of the principal or the administrator. One principal I met with, it was hard just to get an interview with principals because they just they're bombarded, I know, with lots of things. But finally I got a interview with one principal, and to my surprise, after I tell him what I'm doing, he pulls out his calendar. Okay, how about Wednesdays, for 6 weeks? You start next week, and can I pray with you?
Oh, and you did a happy dance. You're like, woohoo!
Yes, that was a first. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's good. So
Yeah.
you'd like a lot more of those, which
Yes.
I'm guessing networking would be really critical.
Yes.
And that's a way that some of our folks here tonight could help
Yes.
you if you know a Christian principal who may be praying for their kids. Or me. I pray for my kids all the time, and but the principals don't know how to get this into
Right.
their schools. So if we can let them know,
Yeah.
let you know who those principals are and how
Tell
you
me, I'll
might-
go.
Yeah.
I'll do it.
So that's one way.
Yeah.
All right, so I asked Jordan this question, I'll ask you too. Of course, we'll talk about the money in a minute, but what would you need from these folks besides the networking opportunities?
Well, networking is big. We always need volunteers. So just last September, we trained 85 volunteers to be on teams to do these Good News
How
Clubs.
many?
85.
Wow.
Yeah, and then since then we've had 3 other. So anyway, we've trained over 120 volunteers since
Oh,
I've been here.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So people are excited. People know that kids need Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a proven program. And kids, they don't know. I mean, they just don't know. Can I tell you a story?
Oh, I love a story.
Okay.
I want a story, yeah.
I've got a lot of
got,
them,
We've
but-
got 8 minutes.
8 minutes. Okay, here I go. So this was my first club in Washington that I started, and some of my friends are here and they've heard this story, but it's my favorite story, and I've shared this keeps me going. So the first Good News Club that I was doing, there was 23 kids that registered. 23 kids came, and 19 kids got saved in that first session. So I was like, I'm in. But 2 of those were 2 little boys, brothers, Aiden and David. And I was telling them the Bible story, and in the Bible story, we always explain the application, how this applies to you. And little Aiden puts his hand up, and in the middle of my lesson, he says, Miss Angie, you mean God will always love you? I said, yes. And he said, even when you're bad? And I said, yes, even when you're bad. And so I went on, and I said, and he'll never leave you. Miss Angie, you mean he'll never leave you? Even if you're bad? And I said, never, Aiden. And so Aiden and his brother David both got saved that day, but I found out later, at getting to know Aiden better, that everyone in his life had left him. So his dad was in prison. His mom had ran off. He was left in the custody of his dad's girlfriend, who then left him. So at this point, he was in his 8th foster home. So to tell him that somebody loves him, no matter what, and will never leave him, changed his life. And a few weeks after that, after he got saved, he came running into club, and he said, Miss Angie, I got to go see my dad. And I said, how was that? And he said, it was kind of sad. He was crying. But I told him, Dad, don't worry. God loves you, and he'll never leave you. Wow. So, yeah, so this is changing children's lives. And
So we need to
I
hear
only have
more
6
of those.
minutes.
Yeah,
I
I
have
was going to say
12
that
more
was only
stories,
that was only 2 minutes. You did really well with the story. I do want to give people a chance to ask you questions, and your capacity to grow it doesn't sound like it's limited by volunteers. Once people know that this is an opportunity, so what are the limitations that you also face? Are there others besides just getting through the front door?
That's the biggest one. Obviously, funds always help because we don't. CEF, we will provide curriculum free if we have to. I mean, if somebody wants to start a club, we will provide everything that they need.
How much does
for
it
them.
cost to get a club started?
So I have it whittled down really cheap. So you can do a 6-week club. You can sponsor a 6-week club, just the bare bones, for $50 for 6 weeks.
$50?
Yeah, that's how much I
For
want
how
these
many
clubs.
kids?
That's for however many
Many you
kids show
get,
up. That's
yeah.
the curriculum, that's the training, yeah.
Wow. All right. I know there's some questions, so what would you guys like to know? Yeah, Chuck?
So is your entry through a principal, or is it through the superintendent of the district, or both, or?
Both. So I'm working with 9 different school districts, and they all kind of work differently. And sometimes, just to kind of put me off, the principal will send me to the superintendent, and then the superintendent will send me to the principal. So I'm trying to go both.
Yes, Mike.
It's elementary, kindergarten through 5th grade.
Do you have any churches plugging in so to direct the kids to it on Sunday?
To do a Good News Club on Sundays? Oh.
The kids receive the Lord.
Yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, that's part of our mission statement. We are to evangelize boys and girls with the gospel and to disciple and establish them in a local church. So our best weapon is to partner with churches. And so, yes, we do have some churches partnering with us. And how that works is if we can get some people from that church on the team. So when you lead a child to the Lord and you tell them, now to grow in this relationship, you need to go to church and learn more about Jesus. And if you don't have a home church, I'd love to take you with me. So that's how that's connected.
Oh, sure.
You started with 4 clubs. How many do you have now?
17. Yeah.
So how do you get the word out to the kids?
That's tricky. So in Washington and most of the states, when you get to go into a school, so we are in some schools, we have these permission slips that have been approved that go home with the kids. But in all of the districts here, they have not allowed that. So they'll let me have a club, some of them, but the permission slips are not allowed to go home. So we now have a QR code that we are trying to get plastered everywhere so that they can register online and go to those clubs.
I hate to say this almost, but I would think there'd be a lot of parents out there who, I hate to say this, but it's just the truth. Parents are exhausted these days, and if they could know their child was in a 90-minute
I'm good with that.
program,
Childcare, we'll do it. Free
sign
childcare.
me up,
Yes,
you know? So, so getting the word out. I would imagine then that would be another way that some of us could help is in our neighborhoods and that kind of thing.
Yes. I brought some
Taking
flyers for you guys to pass them out and get that QR code out for me.
Okay, all right, that's good. Okay, other questions? Anybody? Yes.
Well, first of all, I did go to a Good News Club as a child.
Yay.
Oh, wow.
But if we wanted to connect you with a principal, is it best to approach the principal first? Or what would
Great question.
Either, both, all. Yeah. I like to go in any possible. So contact me. If you have a relationship with the principal, contact him. Let him know that I'll be contacting him, or however you want to do that. But we can do it either way.
Do you have something that's on your website that would help inform all of us about the fact that yes, this has been through the legal system and it's all good? Because I think a lot of us would get that question if we told our friends. They'd say, well, we can't do that, So do you have something that we can?
We do. If you go to our website, which is TVCEF, TreasureValleyCEF.com.
Okay.
If you go to our website, you can look at the history, what Good News Club is, what CEF is, and it will tell you of this court case and the legal precedents that we have.
Okay. Okay, we have 1 minute left. Any other questions?
Blossom.
So we funded Launchpad,
Yes.
which is
Mm-hmm.
further up the pipeline.
Right.
Is there a way to collaborate with them so that the children, the brothers and sisters that are younger, might be able to tap into what you're doing?
Yes. Well, I believe it's Rock. That's the. Yes. So I have spoken with him, and he let me come and share at a couple of his Launchpad meetings. And yes, they're high school and up. So what we're trying to do as kids come up and leave elementary, we try to keep close contact and connect them. And we also have a teen program that we train teens during the summer. So we try to keep a spot on them and pass them right up there.
All right. Well, God bless you and your ministry. And thank you so much for sharing. This is what her flyer looks like, and those are available, and of course available for questions. And I'm really hopeful that we'll get some good networking even done yet tonight.
Thank
Angie,
you.
thank you so much.
Did I tell you we had heavy hitters tonight or what? Let's give it up one more time for both of them. So this is great. Pretty soon we're going to have last event's winners come up and share a little bit of story and after the fact. But we're going to start collecting votes, and while we're collecting them, I just want to let you know that we'll announce an approximate amount that will be given just because we need to ensure that all transactions are approved and know exactly how much is available. But the pot really goes 70-30. So 70% goes to the first place, 30% goes to the second place tonight. And we continue to grow and receive feedback, and I really appreciate that RO116 gives to both people because we vet out the nominations and we make sure that these are nonprofits that spread the gospel in our communities. And I say you meet that, you should get something for your efforts and all the great things that you do. So I'm very thankful for that. And we do have two incredible nonprofits here tonight. One other thing, I'm the announcement guy here, is as we continue to learn and receive feedback too, we've developed a policy regarding to the investments. So this is if you give the $116, and if you do that systematically and you're not able to make it to an event, that is okay. You've got some options. You can either send somebody in your place to the event, but every gift, that 116, will be attached to one person. So you can't send one person and then just have a whole stockpile. They each get one vote. But if you have multiple donations that are going, invite multiple people. Just get a whole bunch of people here and get them encouraged to get involved and to continue doing that. Or you can save it for later with going with that. So we're going to count that up, and we are going to have Michael Oswald come on up here. And Becca, if you're ready. And so, Michael, share with us a little bit about what has...
For my monthly update. Thank you. I'm sorry, what was the question?
Share with us.
Yeah, too busy lining up the picture. So RO116 has provided enough funding for our Ratio Christi chapter to be able to book a mission trip to the Salt Lake Valley, where my Ratio Christi area director, Aaron Marshall, he's Utah and Idaho, he's building what amounts to the Biblical Study Center. Some of you know what that is, there in the Salt Lake Valley near Provo. And he is equipping people to evangelize to Mormons. Well, my student leaders and I are going to go to Utah in May 21 through 27, and we're going to get trained online in advance so that we can be really effective at evangelizing Mormons. Well, if we're going to be effective at evangelizing Mormons in Utah, that'll make us more effective evangelizing Mormons here. So I think that's a big part of what the RO116 funding is enabling us to do. Now, it's not all the money isn't going for that trip, so we're also able to fund a speaker. Seth Gruber is coming to Boise State March 7th with his White Rose Rebellion unaborted podcast. So he's going to be helping us get more people really good at preaching the gospel through making the case for life.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you. All right, should we draw for the Bring a Friend winner?
We should.
Well, first of all, I love how many names are in here. That means a lot of people are doing some good work. And the winner is D. Sarton. You brought a friend. You're entered.
Awesome. Yes, thank you, Kent. Kent makes original jewelry. It's called Made for Lacey, who is his wife. And thank you for donating that. But yeah, bring a friend. We'll have something next time to enter into the drawing. I did want to mention that Michael, thank you for sharing. Who knows about Ratio Christi? Raise your hand if you know. Raise your hand if you have not heard about Ratio Christi. A lot of people here, so I just, correct me if I misspeak, Michael, but what I understand is that Ratio Christi is a newer ministry on the Boise State campus that really equips students to share their faith through apologetics. How do you defend your faith? Why do we believe what we believe? And if you've been on a college campus, you hear the stories that it's not friendly to the gospel. There's friction there. And for kids to step out, we so enjoyed having your student leader, tell me his name again. Jacob. He got up here and shared about his faith, about what Jesus was doing at Boise State last time. And at the end, someone said, hey, how long have you been saved? And he said, 1 year. So isn't it amazing to hear that kids are getting saved at Good News Club every week? Kids are getting saved at Boise State campus. Kids are getting to learn that their faith and their career can go together in a mission to share the gospel. So we're so excited about that, Michael. We want to hear more after your trip, and just keep praying that your team will be fruitful as you're sharing and learning to share with other communities. You've seen up on our board here, Brian, thank you for doing slides, by the way, Brian Yeager. Give him a high five on your way out today. Yeah. We would love for each of you to be an ambassador, because the vision is to get RO116 to 300 people, which would enable us to give $30,000 to fund the gospel in this valley every time we meet. And to do that, it's just a collaborative effort. So we have these flyers that I think Chuck is passing around. Thanks, Chuck. How can you be an ambassador with RO116? This year we're meeting 3 times. Our next meeting is June the 5th. So get out and save the date in your phone. You can, before June 5th, you'll get an email if you got on our list. That email will have a flyer that you can ask your church to put in their bulletin. You can also, there will be a digital media, a link to social media that you can share on your social media page. You can also invest. You can invest as a member of RO116, either a recurring investment that would come 3 times a year or just when you attend at the door. And you can share. Share what we're doing with your friends in your sphere of influence, whether it's a business or an organization. And then encourage a friend or 2 to join you at the event. So yeah, we hope that you'll come on board and that we can grow this together. Thank you for being here.
Okay, looks like we know who a winner is, but, you are both winners. So you're both saving people. You're both bringing people to Jesus, and that is just such a huge impact. We are so grateful for your efforts in this community. And tonight's winner is Child Evangelism Fellowship, and it's $4,550. Come on.
How many Good News Clubs is that?
How many goodness clubs is that? Good News Club.
I'm not that good at math.
That is 1.21 gigawatts. All right, now why don't you get up here too?
We do have a photographer.
Oh yeah, we have a professional here. Well, I say let's bring everybody up. I love this. This is a great group. Look at the momentum that RO116 has. Let's keep this going. Thank you all so much. Now everybody that's here tonight, come on up. Let's get a great big picture with everybody. And there's some information out there. So if you want to sign up for the Good News Club, please don't leave without checking out on that little table on your left. There's an area to sign up, help out, commit to donating.